So still sat here in London Gatwick, obviously. The flight is now very, very delayed. The aircraft has finally arrived, almost 5 hours late, but they're waiting the crew changeover, and that is probably because the crew have now gone over the hours.
All the aircraft are stopped, the airport is closed due to weather.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have a medical emergency.
That depends on you, you want to disembark or not. That's the only one that we can do. The other...
On Sunday the 23rd of October, I flew with EasyJet from Gatwick to Milan. This was meant to be a completely normal experience, but it turned out to be the craziest flight experience of my life so far. Trust me, there's a lot of explaining to do, and it's really hard to keep up with, so make sure to sit back, relax, and for now, enjoy what started as a completely normal Gatwick Airport experience. Here we go, it's Joel Chapman here, and welcome back to yet another trip report. Today I'm here at London Gatwick, about to catch an EasyJet flight to Milan. Today, this EasyJet flight is a little bit different. Rather than being on a standard EasyJet plane, it is operated by SmartLynx out of the South Terminal. SmartLynx are a Latvian lease company with a fleet of Airbus A320s. During 2022, they have been operating on behalf of EasyJet to destinations all around Europe. So today, I'm going to be telling you what it's like if your EasyJet flight ends up being on a SmartLynx aircraft. My journey started by taking the shuttle train from the North Terminal to the South Terminal as I stayed at a North Terminal Airport hotel. The shuttle is very frequent, comfortable and fast, and I have no complaints whatsoever. It's then just a quick walk that takes you right into the South Terminal. The South Terminal is the older of the two terminals at Gatwick, but was previously closed during coronavirus and only reopened earlier this year. The main check-in area is currently going through a refurbishment, so it kind of looks a bit like it's falling apart. However, it is very easy to find the EasyJet check-ins as well as many other airlines. However, there was no check-in needed for today's flight as we'd only bought hand luggage and had already checked in online. Security was very fast and we were already through to the main departures area. However, we had to go through a big long duty-free. The duty-free is exactly what you'd expect from most European airports and had a great selection of all products you want to buy. Once you pass through duty-free, you will arrive into the main departure area, which feels a little bit outdated in some parts, but I have to say it's quite an alright place to spend a few hours, which is what I was meant to be spending here. I will say though that this was the best feature, this complete PC crash on the departure board. The terminal is well organised and has 2 stories which you can easily access via the escalators and lift. The same high ceiling design continues throughout the whole terminal. I found a seat and sat down, and then it became clear that this wasn't going to be the smooth experience I'd hoped for. So still sat here in London Gatwick, obviously. The flight is now very, very delayed. The plane we're flying on today, the SmartLynx A320, was originally supposed to fly to Faro at about 6 AM this morning, and it would get back right in time for our flight departure at 11:20, which is about the time I'm filming this clip at now. But it didn't take off to Faro until 8, and it has only just landed in Faro, so the plane is delayed until at least 1:50 according to departure board, but I am pretty sure it's going to be later than that. I turned out to be right, and within 20 minutes we had another update. The departure board has now updated to say that our flight is delayed until 3 o'clock. At this point, the delay was long, but nowhere near as long as it would turn out to be. I decided to make the most of my time and get some lunch, so I headed to the Wonder Tree Bar and Restaurant. I got this delicious iced tea and a chili bowl, and to my delight, the restaurant also had brilliant views of the runway. After doing a quick bit of plane spotting, I finished my lunch and found another seat in the main departure area. And now the departure boards are showing 4:05 departure and our scheduled departure was 11:20 in the morning. This is absolutely terrible. You know, this is complete lack of organisation, I think, from the flight to Faro initially. You know, sending a plane to Faro and back, and then that being late is obviously now just gone to a spiral, domino effect, I guess you could say. Hopefully, we'll get on the plane, everyone will get on, and they'll get all the stuff done. Because what I mean is the gating closes at 3:15. That's a whole 50 minutes before the flight, right? So I'm hoping that the plane will get there around that time, and we'll be able to board and then push back in a reasonable time. But honestly, absolutely no idea. That restaurant was nice though, spent some time there, saw the planes, so that's always good. But now it's just sitting here waiting for it to be announced. So the number 1 lounge, you can actually pay an alright fee. I can't remember exactly what it was to get in, but there's like a queuing system. And the reason why I haven't mentioned it yet in the video is because the queuing system wasn't looking like it was actually going to work, but we've just been offered a place. We need to get there in the next sort of 4 minutes, so I'd rush. You can join the online queuing system to get into the number 1 lounge, and then you can spend about an hour and a half in there for a reasonable price. Like I said, I can't really remember the exact amount, but trust me, I wouldn't have paid a ridiculous amount to use a lounge for such a short amount of time. But it seemed like it was a good idea as it offered views of the planes, and it was a lot quieter than sitting in the main departure area. I then spotted my aircraft arriving at 3:15. My aircraft for today is Yankee Lima Lima Charlie Tango, an 18.4-year-old Airbus A320 delivered originally to Aeroflot in July 2004. The aircraft then joined the SmartLynx fleet in May 2016. My aircraft has finally arrived. Now it's time to head to the gate. 15 for today's flight, so we'll head there now. There's been an announcement saying that they're waiting for the crew changeover, and that is probably because the crew have now gone over their hours, you know, by doing all these delays, so they would have to go get the crew on standby, I think. So yeah, this is all just unfortunate and very frustrating, although with the delay we are actually allowed to get some compensation, so that's something, but this isn't really good enough from SmartLynx / EasyJet. We boarded the aircraft at 4:20 PM, exactly 5 hours after our scheduled departure time. The cabin on the SmartLynx A320 is completely different to your standard EasyJet cabin. The seats are blue and, if I'm honest, quite uncomfortable, and they're made out of leather, which I find a little bit worse than the other material, fabric, because, well, let's face it, you get very sweaty. So now here on the plane in seat 6A on the SmartLynx Airbus A320, and to be honest, it's not that good. The seats are very basic. Some of the seats are actually just blocked, you can't sit in them, but let me know why. And some of the tray tables say tray table inoperable, do not open, which I think is funny. I've never seen that before, so not the best condition of an aircraft, but it's okay. We're on the plane after 5.5 hours of delay, so hopefully we get moving soon. Everybody was on board the aircraft. It was time to take off into the skies and start our journey to Milan, land on time to get some nice pizza for dinner. But no, this is where it would go even more wrong, and this is what turned this flight, which would have been a very delayed flight, don't get me wrong, into an extremely delayed flight, and one that I will never, ever forget.
Control told us we have a thunderstorm around here. We have to delay 30 minutes, more or less 20 minutes. Okay, we're in sequence, and the controller is going to call us, okay, to as soon as possible to start up. I'll give you more information, okay, in 20 minutes. Thank you.
Now delayed at least another 20 minutes due to a thunderstorm. 30 minutes passed with no information. And then, about 45 minutes after the 30-minute announcement, out of nowhere the safety demonstration started, and it looked like we were going to get on our way.
Pilots and crew have been trained to deliver the same safe and friendly service. Our estimated flying...
However, this turned out to be a completely false sense of hope. Still stuck on the plane. It's now 5:20 PM, which means the delay is exactly 6 hours. However, the pilot then made another announcement. Sadly, it wasn't the one we wanted to hear.
All the aircraft are stopped. The airport is closed due to weather. We are waiting to open it again. and I will call you when everything is clear and the airport is open again. Thank you.
We continued to sit at the stand for another 20 minutes before we had yet another update.
So it's off, okay? So we hope to wait in 30 minutes to start up. We are number 10 by the moment. No problem to leave for destination. Okay, I will call you with more information.
In that announcement, you heard the pilot say we have 30 minutes until startup and we are number 10 in the queue. Now, at this point, things were getting quite complicated. The pilot kept updating us with information that didn't really give us any information on when we would depart. We never really know if the pilot actually had more information than us and was refusing to tell us, or it had as little information as us, and in that case, it was perfectly understandable. However, the lack of communication started to make passengers frustrated, including myself. I want to warn you all now that the next bit is going to be quite hard to follow as lots changed very, very suddenly. So I'm going to pass over to Joel, who was in the moment, rather than this post-trip voiceover Joel, as I'm sure he will do a much better job at explaining what's going on than I will. Again with another hourly update, now 6:20, so it's 7 hours delayed now. Oh, this is fantastic. I'm just loving this SmartLynx experience.
The reason we are going to disembark that the most of the passengers, they want to disembark. I can do anything. If you want to disembark, okay, we are going to do it. I'm going to go to the ground personnel. The ground personnel is going to come here to disembark all the passengers that they want.
Yeah, he said those who want to disembark can, but what does that mean? I don't want to be too much of a backseat pilot here, but I think that the pilot is completely lying to us right now. It was almost an hour since we were told that we were 10th in the queue and we'd be going in 30 minutes. And I know this sounds a little bit kind of silly, but from flying on virtual networks like VATSIM, I understand that 10 minutes isn't as long as it is taken. 10 slots isn't as long as it's taken. So they've now announced, as you just heard, if you want to disembark the aircraft you have, but they're still not telling us when we're going to take off. It's just so stupid. As soon as I know whether we're taking off or not, then I can make a decision. This is so silly. I don't know whose fault. I mean, the fact that we're this delayed is Storm's fault, but the fact we were delayed in the first place is completely the airline's fault. And even who knows if the airport was even shut? Like, we don't know. We've just got the pilot's information, and it hasn't been very reliable so far. This is a disaster.
Number 7, okay, I think in 20 minutes we are going to start up. That depends on you. You want to disembark or not? That's the only one that we can do. The other aircraft are at the same position than us. They are waiting for takeoff. So that depends on you. Please stop. That's the only one that can do. 7, we are number 7. Another problem with the ground personnel. They don't have enough ground personnel here in London. They don't depend on us. Depends on the ground personnel and depends on the broker. Okay, the DHL. It not depends on you.
This could be the fault of the language barrier, but the pilot almost seemed to blame the delay on us, which caused outrage from the passengers. He mentioned we were number 7 in the queue, which meant it had taken about an hour and 15 minutes to move 3 places. He also then said that if these passengers wanted to disembark, it would take even longer, which made the impression that he was blaming it on us. He also made it seem like there was a passenger who wanted to get off just for the sake of it, but the next announcement from the cabin crew would make it clear that something much worse was going on.
Gentlemen, we have a medical emergency on board. Any doctor on board?
They didn't tell us exactly what the medical emergency was, but about half an hour prior, a lady went into a panic attack, and I guess this was what that was. Unfortunately, the ground service here at Gatwick was extremely bad, and the fire engine took absolutely ages to come. Eventually, it did show up with paramedics on board. They boarded the aircraft and took care of the unwell passenger.
They can do it, okay. We need to find the luggage of these guys, okay, of these passengers to disembark, okay. If they won't disembark, and another guys, I'm going to call the company because we have a slot in 1 hour if they want to fly to Milan. So that depends of how long we need the ground personnel to get the luggage of these passengers that won't disembark. So I will keep on touch.
To recognize your baggage on board, thank you.
The cabin crew then proceeded to take every single bag in the side of the plane that was where the passenger who had gone unwell was sitting, which was my side of the plane, take bags out and ask people to say "here" if that was their bag. A very unsecure system if you ask me, but I'm not complaining as they got it done, and that was the last thing that could ever cause a delay.
Gentlemen, just over the tower. We can start the engines in about 20 minutes, so we let the paramedics finish their job. We have all the ground crew for the push, so please, if you help us, we are able to take this slot. Otherwise, we're gonna miss it again, and we don't know when it's gonna be the next one.
I've never seen cabin crew search through the cabin like that. It was so crazy. Luckily, the system worked. They found the bag that belonged to the lady, and with cheers from the passengers, the door shut and we started our pushback, marking, finally, time to taxi and take off for our flight to Milan.
Can we get the question for takeoff?
Perhaps one of the most ironic parts of this whole experience was that the flight flew by once we got into the air. It felt like I had a cup of tango and then we landed.
And we look forward to welcoming you aboard again soon. We apologize for this big delay.
Welcome finally to Milan after that crazy experience. I know this video was very chaotic, but trust me, that is exactly how the flight was. I hope you enjoyed this a lot more than I enjoyed this flight. I am yet to reach out to EasyJet about compensation, but will do soon. The delay is entirely EasyJet and SmartLynx's fault, as if we had left on time at 11:20 AM, we would never have been caught up in that mess. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all very soon with another trip report. Bye for now.